Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Star Wars The Expanded Universe book talk with Dorn Geek. I am your host, Dorn Geek, and today we are going to talk about one of the more eclectic but actually very good books in the New Republic era, The Crystal Star. So let's get going right now with the Crystal Star book talk. Let's go. Yes, we are talking about The Crystal Star. This book was published in November of 1994. So we're getting into sort of that middle 90s. We've been kind of in that middle 90s for a little while. And we got to get to the point where now authors, hopefully after this, are going to stop exploring so much. But this book, we're definitely going to be exploring, as we have been, into what can be done in this universe. So The Crystal Star, published in November of 94, written by Vonda M. McIntyre. And I have to say, I had a lot of complaints, especially with the first book of the Callista series, but like overall, there was a lot of weird exploration and stuff. This book has that too, but it was just done better. Let's look at the timeline that we're in. We are in 14 ABY, 14 years after the Battle of Yavin, so we're right about the same time as the Callista books, just barely after them. So we are moving forward in time. We're just doing it slowly. We are 10 years now after Return of the Jedi. 10 years after Return of the Jedi. Can you believe it? And yes, I put an image in there that references something very specific. As you read the book, I think you'll understand why I chose that particular image to go with what I have set. We're also 5 years now after the Thrawn books already. So this is kind of a big deal. We're now 5 years away from the Thrawn books. We're 5 years away from encountering and dealing with Joruus C'baoth, with dealing with Grand Admiral Thrawn, with meeting Mara Jade, right? We're also now 3 years already from the Jedi Academy trilogy, which means that it's been 3 years since Luke established his Jedi Praxium on Yavin 4, since his students had to battle the spirit of Exar Kun, and since we started sort of the beginnings of having a Jedi Order again. Let's look at the ages of some of our heroes in this book. Luke and Leia, the Skywalker twins, are going to play both an important but very, very different roles in this particular book. But they are 33 now. They're 33 years old. It has been a long journey for these two. Han Solo, we met him when he was 39 or 20. Oh, I'm sorry, 29. Oh my goodness. We met him when he was 29 years old. He is 43 now. Han Solo has not changed all that much. There isn't, just like with Leia, to be honest, there isn't a whole lot of growth with the characters yet. There will be. We just got to keep going. Chewbacca the Wookiee is going to play a very important part in this book. Of course, he's been around in every book and all that, but his role has been very much Han Solo's sidekick. We're going to see a different side of Chewbacca this time. Chewbacca is 214 years old now. 200 when we meet him in New Hope. So he had a whole big life before we even knew him. Jason and Jaina, the Solo twins, are now 5 years old. This is a really big deal because they're just at that age now where maybe just a little bit they could be on their own, maybe just a little bit have their own adventure. Anakin Solo, poor little baby Anakin Solo. Anakin is only 3 right now. He should not be old enough to have his own adventure yet. But of course, we know that Anakin has had some tough times as he was coming up, just kind of forever, right? Like, even when he was not born yet, just like the twins, it's such a thing. We're going to meet a new character. Zaveri. Zaveri is about a year older. Zaveri is about a year older than Han Solo. She is. You're gonna meet her. We'll talk about her a little bit more, but you're gonna meet her. Let's get to the major places that we are going to visit in this book. The first being Muntu Qodru. Muntu Qodru is this. It's not so much about where it is. It's more about the traditions. And you're going to learn all about that in this book. We're going to go to Kersai Station, or as it's sometimes called, Asylum Station. This is about where it is. Maybe more than anything else, Kersai Station's location, Asylum Station's location, is a really big part of what it is and of the story. We're also going to visit a character that I haven't mentioned yet, but we will get into a little bit. Excuse me. Hethrir's Worldcraft. So we're going to meet this new character, Hethrir, and we're going to find out about his worldcraft, what that is, how it plays a part in the story. You're even going to learn about its origins, things of that nature as you go through the book. And then the Alderaan. Yes, you are seeing correctly there in the slideshow. The Alderaan is a space yacht. Gee, I wonder whose space yacht. Yes, it's the exact person you're thinking of. But this is going to be a place where things take place a lot, is on the Alderaan. And then we're going to see, we're going to encounter a new kind of starship that, if you think about it for 10 seconds, makes total sense. Although little bit of retconning with other stuff that has come out more recently, but it makes total sense that these lost passenger freighters would exist in the way that they do. And finally, the other major place that's going to play a major part in this book is the Altar of Waru. And the Altar of Waru, say it like that, the Altar of Waru is very much more about who's there and what's going on there than anything else. Let's take a look at the major characters and relationships going on in this book. This is sort of the beginning of very much Leia and her children and what they mean to each other, who they are to each other. Very much how Leia sees her children. Okay. Later in future books, we'll get to how the children see Leia, but right now, how Leia sees her children. Still very young, 5 and 3, right? And then how Chewbacca sees the children. Okay. How does Chewbacca see the Solo kids? And how does that affect him? How does his perception of them and who he feels he is to them make a huge difference in his life? And then who they are to each other. Quite specifically, a lot of how Jaina sees Jacen. And then a lot of how the twins together see their younger brother, Anakin. Okay? This is all about their own perceptions. We get a little bit of Jacen too, but a lot more the other way. We're going to encounter another new character named Ralau and her relationship with Leia, who she is to Leia, how they meet. Is a very cool story in this book. I think you'll find it to be one of the more intriguing and interesting parts of this book is this meaning. Don't let it pass you over. It's something that if you're going too fast, you could miss some of the intricacies, right? And then, and this one I think is really one that people might find to be a little more kind of crazy but cool, is Vader, Darth Vader, and Hethreer. Vader's dead. How are we going to see? Well, of course, we're going to hear about the relationship. So, very interesting relationship between those two. And then, yes, the relationship between Han Solo and Zaviri. They're very close to the same age. And yes, it's exactly what you're wondering. Another relationship that we've seen over the years and over the books and in the movies and everything is a relationship between Han Solo and Luke Skywalker. However, there's a new dynamic to this, and the relationship that's going to be specifically explored in this book is how they relate to each other now that they are in-laws. They're brother-in-laws, brothers-in-law, something like that. We have this, we'll call it a character, an entity, something, Waru. And there is a relationship, an interaction, whatever you want to call it, between Waru and the Force itself, and we are going to get to see and learn about that. Hethreer is going to have interactions and a relationship with another character named Tigress. There's Tigress there in the slideshow. Tigress, we're going to be learning a lot about Tigress, and specifically right now I'm talking about how he relates to Hethreer, but also who he is to Anakin Solo during this story. And what brings that about, and where that all goes it's an intriguing and it's just, it's important to the book. I'll say it that way. We're also going to have the Solo twins and their interactions and relationship with a werewolf. Not a werewolf, but a werewolf. This is going to go back all the way to Montekodru, and the details of what a werewolf is are just fascinating. And then this one, very important to future timelines, is the relationship between the Solo twins and a character that we're going to meet named Lusa. Don't sleep on this relationship. It's kind of hard to anyways, because it's going to be some wonderful moments and stuff, and some moments that you'll care about, but don't let it pass you by too quickly. Lusa is an important character. Okay? Major events that are going to go on in this book. I'm sorry for the coughing and clearing my throat. I'm a little bit stuffed up. Still trying to get through this recording. Major events. There is going to be big action to start this book. And we're going to have a very important reflection for Chewbacca, not in a mirror, but a self-reflection. I suppose a mirror is a self-reflection. I'm getting way off track here. Chewbacca's reflection on that big action that starts the book is going to go through, quite frankly, a lot of the book. We're going to learn about the Empire Reborn. Seems like every time we come across a villain in this post-Imperial New Republic era, where, now remember, we're only 5 years away from Thrawn, so we're really not that far away from Imperial villains. And of course, there will be Imperial villains all throughout all of this, and we're going to see more of it, and the Empire Reborn is going to be part of that. And then we're going to have Leia's adventure. And to me, this is there's essentially 3 parts to this story, and this is one of the most interesting. 2 of the stories I find interesting. One of them I don't really find all that interesting. It's still vaguely interesting, but Leia's adventure and who she is in this book, just wonderful, wonderful and fascinating. We get to start to see also specific abilities, force abilities of the Solo twins, of Jaina and Jacen, and where they start to deviate in their force specialities. That's going to be an important part of this book, a part of this book that really starts to establish who they are as individuals instead of just being the Solo twins. And then we're going to have a cool moment where we get to watch hyperspace on the Worldcraft. And I know that probably doesn't mean much, but I was always fascinated by that sort of blue rainbow of hyperspace and the hyperspace tunnel. And I thought it was just amazing to think about this. More major events that we're going to talk about in this book. We get to see a cool force ability to create light. And that, everything about this is just so cool, including who's doing it. And I really think it's worth you finding out and me not telling you. Okay. We're going to have a moment in this book that will come back to us in the Legacy of the Force books. It's really important, I guess, or used really well later. This is the Solo twins' first adventure by themselves. And that carries over. Okay? We're going to see the twins make some new friends. I talked about the relationship between the Solo twins and Lusa, between the Solo twins and a werewolf. And having those two things, just watching the Solo twins make new friends is fun. Okay. We're also going to see Luke have a different type of struggle on Kersai's station. Okay. It's interesting because we get to start the book with Luke, or not start, but very close to start. You're going to see Luke sort of establish a fairly new ability. And then he's going to struggle with things on Kersai's station. And we're going to get to see Luke and Han go through a conflict. Okay. And again, this is all about their relationship as in-laws, as family now, and how their perceptions of each other, how their perceptions of what they want each other to be change a little bit because of that. And you're going to get to learn and read about Waru's background. Waru's background pushes the limits, as these authors tended to do in this time, in this early to mid 90s time. But it's so well done in this book. And Waru's background is just something I think that's going to capture your imagination. And that is it. That is our book talk on The Crystal Star. When I come to you again with the next book talk, I will be coming to you with the first book in the Black Fleet Crisis trilogy, Book 1, Before the Storm. Thank you for watching, everybody. May the Force be with you, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.